Welcome to the Lidocaine Drip.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Jess, and we'll be your host for today.
And always.
We're not really organized on this podcast.
Not organized at all.
But we're going to have fun along the way.
You know, we're here to talk about what you may be thinking throughout the day and don't say, or what you do say and get in trouble for saying. That's usually what I do.
In all seriousness, we made this podcast to combat mental health issues in veterinary medicine.
Mental health in general.
And we're here to inject humor into the darkness of our lives.
Very dark, very, very dark lives.
So let's get down to it.
Let's get down to it.
Hey everyone, welcome back.
Hello. Hola.
Episode 8 here. Kevin and I are reunited.
Bienvenue.
He's back from San Francisco.
Oh, I'm back from the Oakland Hills. It was a great experience. I felt like a tree creature or something. The trees out there are like amazing. They're like just huge. I don't know. I guess all trees are huge, but there's something about the Oakland Hill trees that just drew me in. Mesmerizing. Yeah.
Well, and I feel like they're older because it's like that rainforest up there. Which you don't think of the rainforest being in the Pacific Northwest. Yep. It's considered a rainforest, like I think a temperate rainforest. If we're going back to like ecosystems and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, someone said that it's the the Northeast like trees and the forests up there are more immature or they're younger, so that's why they're so different than the trees out in California, as those ones are older. I don't know like how that makes sense to me, but they look completely different too. So
okay,
but yeah,
well, good to know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess before we kind of dive into today's topic, which is kind of something that's been on I think both of our minds for a while, and it's probably on a lot of
every day.
I think it's on a lot of people's minds. We'll get to that in a second, but first let's start off with a mental health check-in, as we usually do.
Can you go first today? I'm just like barely. I was in the bathtub when you got here. My dog started barking, so like I have to gather my thoughts.
Okay,
yeah.
All right, fair enough. Okay, well, where do I begin? I think that again, I'm kind of back at that I'm surviving state right now.
Yeah. I concur.
I'm going through the motions, and I'm getting my tasks that I need to get done, but I'm not fully present. I'm not. I know you're laughing at that, but I'm not.
Can't wait for
I'm not
the moms to comment. Your mom or my mom.
I know.
Are you okay?
I sound stressed. Because that's what moms sound like, right? With the high-pitched voice.
Yeah, and then I'm like, no!
Well, I mean, truthfully, no. I don't think I'm okay right now, but
maybe you should elaborate on that. Like, why do you feel like you're just existing? What is different this week? You've been doing the same thing. You've been a resident all along. Like, yeah, you did get like a 2-week break or whatever, but
well, there's a lot behind the scenes, I think.
That you can't discuss?
No, it's just that there's a lot that's kind of this undercurrent of instability in my residency program. There's a lot of things that keep changing and that aren't, obviously you can't predict anything in life, but it feels like things just keep changing and once I get used to one idea, things change again, and then I have to start all over again and adapt, which I do, but I don't enjoy that. I'm the type of person I like to know where I stand and where my place is and everything. And with all of these changes in the program, there's a lot of things up in the air that keep changing. Also, like, okay, residency is not easy. I will be honest about that. It's and I think it's not easy for anything. You know, you're foregoing making a normal salary to further your training, but you see your peers or people that have graduated and they're making,
And their Mercedes.
they're making a
No.
good salary though.
Yeah. Can go to
And-
Target on walk out with a $200 shopping cart and
and not
think
even
twice.
blink. Exactly. Or do the same at Whole Foods, or go on vacation, and actually pay for it with
Their
savings.
debit card.
Yeah. And so I'm not there.
I get
And
it.
I also realize my current situation is temporary. I'm not complaining by any means, because I chose this life and I chose to do this, and I'm fully aware of that. But I also, the residency is hard, so that's one aspect of my life.
A majority of it, I feel like.
And then I also have stuff to deal with, where I live. So again, mowing the lawn. I told the story last week about how much I love mowing the lawn, and how the lawnmower will just, give you a good JP whenever.
Yeah,
and
JP
and
BY backyard.
well, it's the front yard, but
Okay, in the FY.
anyway.
JP in the FY in the house.
So, that I've got stuff to deal with there. Currently, I have 7 large dogs at my house.
Oh my god.
Not by choice. Again, those two, the Dobermans that I was watching last week, or for now the almost 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I still have them in my house.
I can't.
In addition to my 3 dogs. And then I thought that the Dobermans would be gone by now, but I have acquired 2 more dogs, because I had set this up months ago of watching somebody's dogs when they're away for 2 months out of the country. And so that's the story of how I got 7 dogs. So that's, fun. My house is covered in dog hair.
Ugh.
I can't sit down and study
Oh,
because they're
God.
all playing, and then it's loud, and it's you have to watch them so nobody dies or get in a fight or anything. And so I have that stressful aspect, and then I have what else is going on, and the fact that I don't feel like I can have a personal life. I can't call my friends.
God,
I can't.
then-
I call them. The only time I really call people is when I am driving, because I'm well, I have 15 minutes anyway, so I might as well, make the most out of this. So to anybody listening from my personal life, I apologize. I'm not trying to ignore you. I just literally have no capacity, and that includes my family.
I think that's such a big problem with. I've pushed or prolonged Skyping with 2 separate friends this week 3 times. I started on Sunday, and that was my day. Got back. I had that whole day after San Francisco to recuperate, and I needed to be locked in a dungeon in the dark and watch Netflix, and that's what I did. So that's what I did. But I was oh, maybe I'll get up the energy to Skype tonight. That's all I had to do. Came tonight, I was no, I made dinner, I'm exhausted now. So postpone the Skyping with one person. Then comes Monday, I'm oh, tomorrow night, you can call me 50 times if you want, and we'll Skype. We'll make it happen. Nope, postponed it then. Postponed it yesterday. Tonight, my friend Laura was oh, if you want, every day she's been you can call me later on, and I'm just I'm exhausted, I don't, we don't have the energy to, it's so, people don't realize that you don't have even a second for yourself, you even more than me.
Yeah.
But then to even get to personal friends or family is just another step.
That's true, and I don't know. I mean, I know we talked about this before, and you said you're an extroverted introvert, or extroverted introvert. That's what you said.
Extroverted introvert.
That's what you said. And
I'm getting confused.
I'm definitely
on what that
more
means now.
of an introverted person, and basically what that means to me is I get overwhelmed when I'm in areas with large crowds. That is physically, mentally draining to me, and that's basically what I have to do in my job all day long.
Oh my god.
And then not only that, I also have to give my knowledge and be able to teach as well. And I'm not gonna lie, some days I don't do that as well as I should or could, because I'm irritated and I'm more, short and I understand that, and it's like I have all these other things behind the scenes, so it's not just that I'm like this angry, irritated person. There's like reasons for it. Not that that's an excuse, but I have to give that of myself as well. And then, talking to clients, talking to referring veterinarians, talking to clinicians, other house officers, and it's a lot for me to give, like mentally and physically. So when I get home at the end of the day, I just want silence. I just want to sit down, not think, not have to do anything, but I can't because
7 dogs. That's why I can't.
Right
that's
now,
not really helping the quiet.
Right now,
but
and you have to study, you have to read journal articles, or you have to do all these things. So it's like to actually have a moment for myself that usually only comes on the weekends, but I also need to use that time to get all of my work done. And it's a lot. It's overwhelming right now. So that's why I say I'm only existing. That was a really long, complicated answer.
I think it's
but there's
good.
A lot,
this is how much a lot of people convey.
There's a lot going on behind the surface, or I guess not behind the scenes, under the surface.
Most of the iceberg is below the water.
Yeah.
Just like in Titanic.
We got that mention out of the way easy. All right. The streak is alive.
Streak it's the one thing we got going for us.
So how are you doing then?
I wanted to elaborate on what you were talking about. I give such big props to people like you that are residents and interns and teachers. Like I sit in rounds, as we have morning rounds and evening rounds, and sometimes, it's frustrating. Like today, I was a transfer student, so there's 2 transfers and there's 5 students, so me and 2 other students didn't have anything to do for the whole day, literally from like 9 a.m. to about 4 p.m., literally nothing to do but twiddle your thumbs and like study or, do whatever, really. I don't even know what I did for 8 hours. I couldn't even tell you. But then, you wait the whole day and then you go into rounds and it gets like prolonged for an hour and like 10 minutes, like when it's supposed to be a quick, like 15-minute rounds, and we're like, okay, it's gonna be quick. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, like all day, and I just want to go home, and it's 6 o'clock and I gotta walk the dog and I have to make dinner and then I have to clean my mess of an apartment. And then then when's the time for me to like sit and like get in my brain and like
touch in with you, like
how are you, Kevin?
They call it drop back in, like drop in, because we spend so much time in our heads that we forget to check in with our bodies. And I know that sounds very like hippie, but if you think about it, like you're in your head all day. Okay, what do I have to do? What's the next thing? What task is awaiting me? Who do I have to call? Blah, 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 whatever it is. I have to vacuum. I have to go to Walmart and pick this up or whatever. But you forget to actually check in and be like, hey, are you hungry?
Yeah.
Do you need to drink some water because you haven't drank anything or like peed all day?
Yeah.
We live in our heads, and it's important to check back in, drop back in, and just check in with yourself, like you're saying.
So what I veered off topic a little bit. My thought was, so in rounds, a lot of the times I see interns and residents that give like presentations to us, and I remember today and yesterday I was sitting there and I was like, this person is like, really compassionate. Is that the right word choice? They just care. They're compassionate about what they do and they want to teach us, and it's like they're teaching it the first time. But I'm like, how many times has this doctor or this intern every 4 weeks or every 2 to 4 weeks, you're going through the same thing over and over? And my personality, I couldn't do that. I could not. Like, I like to teach. Maybe if I have like I used to help teach technicians at work, like how to draw blood and things like that, which is fine, as they're going to be with you for the long term. But like a constant influx of new people, like I don't know how people do that. Like that would be draining to me. Yeah. Over and over and over. So I give big props to people that take the time to do that.
Yeah, it's hard. I guess that's all I can say.
Yeah, it's part of the job.
It is part of the job, and you know, I think at the end of the day, everybody's doing the best that they can, and
You hope they
myself included, I guess.
And for students too, even being a vet student, you have to have a new on your clinical rotations every 2 to 4 weeks. You're on a new block with new students, and so you're always having to learn which personalities are like what and who's like what. Who can you joke with? Who do you have to be stern with? Who's gonna like say you're not working hard enough? So it's exhausting, like for students too, like from the beginning. So you've been doing it even longer. You were a student and then an intern and then a resident.
Yeah.
But I had another thought about that. What was my thought? So that's another thing I think people don't realize. Like, we're talking to other classmates, we're talking to, each other all day and clients. And so, like, our friends are just thinking, like, it's like a normal day, like they would have. And it's like, no, you can't even, like, say the word hello at the end of the day, 'cause you're so tired of talking. So that's why at the end of the day, I usually, in the beginning, I'm like, oh yeah, let's Skype. And then at the end, I'm like, I can't talk anymore. Like, I don't want to talk.
Yeah.
So.
That's exactly right. And some people are built for that. Some people are just extroverted and, like, more power to them. They hate being alone. I value my alone time because that's when I recharge and that's when I check back in with myself. And, sometimes that means I spend all day on the couch, like on the weekend.
I just need one day on the couch. Once a week.
I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to make any plans. I could go out and meet people, but nope, I just want to be alone. And that's that,
Yeah.
So.
No, I get it. I don't know. There's nothing we can do, really. We just got to keep on keeping on. Exactly. Isn't that my thing from the first?
I think
keep on keeping on.
Well, okay. So that was kind of like a sidetracked mental health check-in, but I think it's important because I think you have to talk about these things, or, keeping them inside is not healthy, and holding on to that and harboring those emotions, and, that's not healthy.
I was going to say, though, like, I think this is sort of the theme for the episode, like this our field we're in. So, right? Isn't that the theme of the episode? I guess we'll find out. Maybe I forgot. But what I was going to say is a lot of the times at work, like, I give out all my energy during the day. And so that's why I seem like an extrovert. Like, I'm joking with people. I'll see you in the hallway and I'll be like, what's up? Like, yo, girl. Like, down the hall. And so I'm always, like, friendly and bubbly no matter how exhausted I am. So I think that's... Like, not many people would think, oh, when I come home or, like, internally, I'm dying. Like, I'm, like, exhausted mentally, physically, have no energy. Like, so I think a lot of people put on this front when you're in a workplace or with other students is you don't want them to be like, oh, what's wrong, or blah, blah, blah. So, I think it's good to, like, have these conversations where you talk with people that are in the same field as you and be like, well, how do you really feel? Like, how,
Yep.
And you don't want to talk about it during the day. It's like if we were like in the middle of the day, like, how are you? Oh, I'm just existing. Like we're trying to get through the day as it is and like work our asses off. So like let's keep it positive.
Well, and I mean, I don't think people really like process their emotions anyway. But that's
at all or during the day.
I guess during, I don't know. At least I guess I can't speak for everybody. A generalized statement, but. Yeah, it's hard too because that's like your work time. Like you got to do what you got to do your job. But anyway, let's segue into light facts because we need a little bit of more of an upbeat thing. Do you want me to go first or do you want to?
You know what? I have some light facts. Let me see here. So, one of my facts is. Did you know that a dog's nose print is unique to them? In fact, it is so unique that it's comparable to a human's fingerprints and can be used to correctly identify our canine friends.
I did actually know that. Okay. I think that's pretty cool, though.
Yeah. Did you know there's a similar thing with a cat's ridge of their nose, their nostril? The ridge of it.
No.
So... Just like dogs' nose prints or human fingerprints, a cat can be identified by the extremely unique ridged pattern on their nose. So, like the little... Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
I did not know that.
That was something I thought was interesting. I had one more. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to summarize it correctly. All right. So cats are unable to taste sweet things. Did you know that?
I think I did, but bitter if they
So
can.
I went to confirm and printed out a journal article by Scientific American, but I don't really want to read that as it's a little confusing to me. But it does state in there exactly why, so it is true. All right, so that, like I looked up the facts and made sure.
And I see I see
yeah.
the paper, so.
I printed this out. Well, that's to see I did something on my 8 hours today. I printed this out. So it is believed that there is a mutation in one of their taste receptors that keeps our feline friends from enjoying sugary snacks. So it's like, yeah, maybe if someone wants to give their little cat, like, you know, ice cream or cake, or like my grandma used to give like pie, it's like they don't even get the benefit of it. They're just getting the fat and they're not even tasting it. So like maybe people should know that.
Yeah, maybe. And maybe they could manipulate us so we can't taste that.
Yep. So according to the study, they lack 247 base pairs of the amino acids that make up the DNA of this TAS1R2 gene, and that has something to do with tasting sugar. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay. Cool. Well, mine kind of also has to deal with nature, if you will.
Why'd you say it like that?
Oh, because it's kind of like nature and the animal kingdom, I guess.
Serenia Mitsubishi Abo.
Mitsubishi.
I always say that. I always say Mitsubishi Abo. Because I don't know the words.
That's
I know,
correct.
but it sounds good if you say it quick. Serenia Mitsubishi Abo. You know? That's my Lion King.
I love it.
God, are you sick? God, don't get me sick.
No, it's still it's tracheitis from when I was sick 2 weeks ago.
What? You were sick 2 weeks ago? I got sick right... Oh, coincidence. I got sick right when I got to San Francisco.
Coughing?
Yeah. Nose thing.
I got it from you.
I took every herbal thing under the sun. I took vitamin C chew tabs.
I took nothing.
And mine went away in 3 days.
Well, I did the neti pot.
Clearly it helped.
It did, actually. Anyway, getting back to my light effect.
Yeah.
So, did you know that the tropical fungus Ophiocordyceps infects ants' central nervous system? By the time the fungi has been in the insect's body for 9 days, they have complete control over the host's movements. They force the ants to climb trees, then convulse and fall into the cool, moist soil below where fungi thrive.
Oh my God.
Once there, the fungi waits until exactly solar noon to force the ant to bite a leaf and kill it. Don't miss these, so that's, they basically, the fungi create zombies and then control their minds.
Oh my God. So it's sort of like our iPhone zombie apocalypse going on right now.
Kind of, but it's...
Nature's cruel.
It is. It is.
Some Illuminati shit right there.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about them.
Anyway. Oh, here's another one. This is kind of an animal fact, but did you know that there's a thing called... A cow-bison hybrid is called a beefalo? And
I did know.
you can buy its meat in at least 21 states.
That's nice.
That's nice. I wonder what it tastes like.
I don't really care to find out.
Anywho, okay. So, topic that we're going to talk about today, which you guys all already know from the title because that's what we put in the description box when you clicked on this podcast to listen to it, is we're talking about anxiety. Our thoughts, things we get anxious about, and just kind of, I guess, how it affects our lives.
Are we going to focus mainly on veterinary medicine? Maybe this will be veterinary medicine title.
Veterinary medicine anxieties?
Or just, every anxiety that comes throughout our day.
Okay.
Mine starts with waking up.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've already established that the first thing I think about when I get out of bed in the morning is when I can get back in bed. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's normal, I think.
And we decided that's everyone's anxiety.
Yeah. So, I mean, I really do... I'll preface all of this by saying I really do enjoy my job. Sometimes it is stressful, but I really do like being able to make a difference in pets and clients' lives, and then being able to teach the students. So, anyway. Yeah, anxieties. I guess usually I'm so tired. I'm anxious that I'm not getting enough sleep. Well, I guess it starts when I go to bed. I'm like, oh, it's midnight. I need to go to bed earlier. I need to go to bed earlier. I put that pressure on myself.
I don't.
Well,
I do, but I block out that I'm not gonna get sleep.
And I guess I have, okay, then I have to take care of all the dogs. Like right now it's a lot. So we have our routine. Everybody goes outside. Then I collect all the food bowls while everybody's outside. I have to feed everybody separately because I don't want any, like...
I can't take this.
Food wars. So everybody's in a separate room. And then I have to... I always set up coffee the night before because I can't be bothered to, like, make it in the morning. So it's on an automatic timer. It starts at 5:15 every morning. And, yeah, then I'll be getting ready and I'll hear a dog barking outside and then I have to go yell at them, say, stop barking.
Oh my God.
My neighbors, they probably hate me. They probably already think I'm crazy because every time I go outside and open the door, I'm calling 7 different dogs' names,
Yeah, they've probably accepted it by now.
I don't know about that, but I try to spare them from excessive barking, so that's an anxiety. Then I also, I have this irrational fear of, oh, my neighbors hate me, they're going to call, like, animal protective services or whatever and just be like, oh, she has 7 dogs, she's hoarding,
Yeah, you'll be on the news and they're going to be like...
Yeah. And then currently some of the dogs that I'm watching do not get along well with cats, so that's an anxiety for me is, okay, I can't let the cats,
You should have brought your cat here. Want to bring your cat here?
No, no. That'd be an anxiety for her.
Yeah. See, okay, so can we segue after this? I want to segue into another thing.
Go now.
Because I have anxiety. I have like a preemptive anxiety for my pet. Like, remember I gave you all these instructions before because I don't care about my own well-being as much as I do about my own pet. Like, your pet, I'd be like, whatever, they'll be fine. But like my own dog, when I was like, she's very shy of other dogs. Like, don't even try bringing her to your house because she's going to see the other dogs, and then I can just picture her running under the table with her tail down, all afraid, like, circling around the house, and all the dogs ganging up on her, and then the cat being like, blah, 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 meow, meow, and then she's, like, going to be freaked out and shaking in a dark corner. And so that's what I envision. And so then I was like, and don't bring her to school because I brought her to school on ophthalmology rotation and she was in the cage and I came back 20 minutes later and then she was like salivating and there was drool everywhere and she was trembling. The whole cage was making a noise.
Oh.
Because she gets
so you're saying you project your anxieties onto your pets.
I guess, or I'm showing you for my dog what her anxiety is what I think of it as. Because I know her. And I'm not that crazy. Like, I know she's nervous.
But you don't think... Can you say that, like, when you're
Did you
walking...
try? Be honest. Did you try her at your house?
No, I didn't.
You should have tried
her. Okay, but honestly, when you're walking her, and you just told me that she started, barking at dogs, so you know that now about her, you get anxious when that happens.
No, I love it. I think it's, like, cute.
You don't get anxious that she's gonna get in like a fight or that.
No, she won't ever fight a dog. Well, she'll go.
Yeah, but like you don't. I mean, I guess that's one thing I have with my dogs because they're German Shepherds. I think they're well behaved, but I'm probably biased. Compared to some of the other German Shepherds, I think they're well behaved. But when I walk them and I see, a stray dog on a leash or something, or not even a stray, but somebody's like, oh, I walk my dog without a leash because they're so good. They listen to me. And you're like, no, you're on the other side of the street and your dog's over here with my dog. So
that's
clearly
what happened today.
They're not listening very well to you. So I definitely have anxiety about that because if my dog's, if that other dog comes over, starts shit with my dogs, they're bigger dogs, so they're gonna probably finish something, and the other dog might get hurt. And guess whose fault that's gonna be? Not the person who didn't have their dog on a leash. It's gonna be the person, the German Shepherd's
veterinary
dog.
resident. Yeah, that's whose fault it's gonna be.
Because they're the bigger dogs and they cause more damage, which that's not. So I get anxious about that.
I guess I get. if the dog's on a leash somewhere else, I think it's cute if she's barking across the street. But like today, the guy was with his kid, or he like ran out the front door, and the kid was in the house, and the dog ran literally a house away up to Mame, and she was fine. She was like barking, and then like as soon as a dog comes up to her, she stands there and just like sniffs them. Mm-hmm. But if they're really rambunctious towards her, she will like try to, like she will eventually snap. So that's when I do get a little anxious.
Yeah.
So I start dragging her. I'm like, come on, come on.
Yeah.
And then the dog follows you, and the guy's like, come on, Charlie, come on, Charlie, come on, Charlie. And you're like, your dog doesn't listen to you. Like, why don't you pick him up or something, you know?
Yeah.
We're like another house away, like walked that far, and your dog still didn't come back to you.
Clearly, Charlie doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, the guy was like, I know I'm in the wrong here, and I have my headphones on. I was like, I'm just going to ignore your comment.
You're just like, can't hear you. Yeah. Like mouthing, I can't hear you.
Does it also annoy, well, I guess to me, since I know Mame's so sweet with people, like, and you could like punch her and she'd be like fine, like she's so sweet, right? Well, in my head she is. Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
So anytime someone comes up to her, like I just mean like you could. I'm trying to say something that would provoke a dog to bite. What could you do? I don't know.
Reaching down to pet them.
Okay, well I was trying to say something funny, but I said punch, but I guess that was the wrong word choice because I've never punched a dog, but I just meant like. I used to say with Eli, you could like throw him over your shoulder and he like wouldn't do anything as he's so chill. Whatever. So don't call PETA. Don't call like animal poison control or whatever. I don't know. Stupid comment.
Anyway.
So anyway, you could do anything to her and she won't bite you. Like that's what I'm trying to say. A kid could grab her. How about this? A kid could grab her ear and yank it and she'll be like fine.
Yeah.
So I hate when people like go and they're like, oh, like with their hand, and they like slowly put it towards her like a land shark, and they're like, oh, can I pet her? And I'm like, she's fine, and they still don't go any faster, and I'm like, just pet the damn dog. I'm telling you, she's like innocent as a fly.
Yeah.
So I always like, I don't know.
It's I think it's a liability, and I don't know. I mean, she's a petite lady.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I feel like it's a liability. Like when I have.
Yeah.
You know, people want to come
It's
and try to pet.
considerate. I guess I just don't pet anyone's dogs.
It gives me anxiety when people just automatically walk up and start trying to pet the dogs, especially especially kids. Yeah, because that's rude. That's rude. Yeah. Like that's not the way that you do it. You should be teaching your children and having conversations, but you should be teaching your children to ask permission to pet the dogs, because again, if I know my dogs are good with kids because they've been around them before, but in a situation, you never know, and if that kid gets bit, guess who's in the wrong?
Yeah.
Not the kid, because the parent wasn't watching them and didn't go up to them and stop them from getting in the face of this dog who clearly does not want to be pet. It's the dog owner's fault.
Yeah, I think my mom raised me with such good like rules, or what's the word, like good standards. What is the word?
Morals.
Moral. Is that a moral though, to not pet a dog? But she raised me with
manners.
Manners. So she raised me with like such good manners that I think to this day that's why like I don't really go up to random people's dogs ever, even like at a park, or even if they're walking by, I don't even try to pet them.
I always ask.
It's like I feel like my mom would always be like, not even that she said this, but like you don't invade other people's privacy, and I feel like people don't respect that anymore. And so I'll see people and I'm like, when I'm on a plane or something with my dog or wherever I am with her, I feel like I have to keep her so close to me to not bother anyone else. And everyone else like loves dogs and they're like, oh, like we don't care, but I'm like, I care because I feel like I'm bothering you, and like maybe this is your time to like unwind, and I'm letting my dog like interrupt it.
Yep.
And I feel like people don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So thank you, Mom.
Oh yeah.
I'm a good boy.
Well, yeah, so anxiety about animals. I also have this, like, irrational fear that, like, okay, we've already established too, everybody's gonna die at some point, and that includes our animals, which is really sad. We're not going there right now on today's episode, but...
We should have a whole episode about death.
I think we should, too. I think that'd be a good topic.
Death in multiple religions.
And things like that, too.
Oh, animal? Okay.
Well, look, it's part of it, right?
Yeah.
It's part of what we have to deal with as veterinarians. I kind of forgot where I was going with that.
Sorry.
Like anxiety about when your animals are going to die. and like how it's going to happen, and you try to prevent and, you know, do what you can and all of that, but that's a source of anxiety as well. Or, oh, hey, little Wilson, you dumb puppy who likes to chase cars, you know, if he breaks a hole in the fence and goes to chase cars, like these are the anxious thoughts that I have. Or maybe that's fears or worries, and maybe that's not necessarily anxiety, but I feel like they're all very interconnected. But those are the things I think about.
See, those types of things, I try to limit my stress in that aspect, because I black it out to the last minute.
Yeah. I'm the type of person, I'm like a thinker. I have contingency plans for my contingency plans.
Oh God, that's too much.
Because to me, that gives me less anxiety than not having a plan.
Yeah.
Like I need a plan to be able to function and to say, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. If that doesn't work out, then I can do this, and if that doesn't work out, I can do this. You know, I could have a whole line of it, but I think about whenever I have a problem, anything, I think about it from multiple different outcomes. So, okay, if this happens, what would be the, you know, potential outcome? If this happens, what
you
would
go
be
that far?
I do, because
how do you plan the unpredictable?
You can't. That's the
way
question.
too many options.
That's the question.
Oh, I don't
so
have time for
you
that.
can't, right? And that's probably another source of anxiety.
Yeah,
because
I'd say
you
so.
try to, and you know, I definitely have control issues, right? Like that's something I'm trying to control in my life, which you can't control time. You can't predict the unpredictable, like you just said. Yeah, so that's one thing I do that I know doesn't really help me, but having a plan at least gives me a little bit more, again, of an idea of where I stand with everything and what I'm trying to work towards, or what the goal is, you know.
I think in regards to pets, I think I also have anxiety about them being overweight. If we're gonna go, if we're gonna talk about pets a little, like I get so anxious. I always call my dogs and cats like nugget or like slut or fatty or you're getting a little plump today, like. And I say it as a joking, because like I'm really strict. Well, I'm pretty strict about the cat, but if the cat is crying at like 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., I'll be like, here's a few pebbles of food, because I can't, like, Daddy's got to have his moment for him, like, please. But do you have like a problem, like, do you have a problem doing what you tell clients to do? Because I feel like I think
veterinarians are the worst clients.
Like, I'll tell people, like, do this, do this, and then I'm at home, like, oh, you want a little piece of cheese? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, okay, for instance on that. So Wilson, my foster failure puppy, he was a Good Samaritan that got brought in. Well, he was brought in by a Good Samaritan, so he's a stray that was hit by a car, and he had a broken leg when he came into the hospital.
Yeah, I'm aware.
And he had a splint on, because we had to, this whole thing, we had to wait, you know, several days, because he actually did have owners, turns out, because he was microchipped. And I
didn't know that.
They did not return our calls or our email or the letter that we sent to their house. So basically what happens in that case is, after 10 days of trying to contact them, it's essentially like this abandonment period. So 10 days is the amount that you have to wait that they have to be able to contact you, and after that they're abandoned. So technically, you're not, because animals are still viewed as property in this country, you're not allowed to do anything other than, you know, what's medically necessary. So splinting the broken leg, and then giving him pain medication. So
and cage rest.
Yes. So he came to me, and he had a splint on for this broken leg, and you know, I was like, oh, he's a puppy, and I should know better too, because I'm a surgery resident.
Yeah.
He had a broken leg, and I would like let him out for a little bit of time to like. Yeah. He wasn't really like playful, because I think he was still like hurting. He's not as crazy. He wasn't as crazy then as he is now. But I would like let him be out of the kennel, and his bandage would get dirty because I was just like, oh, I can't cover it. Meh.
Oh my God.
So yeah, veterinarians are the worst clients. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hands down. You know, I don't follow all of the advice that I tell clients to, so all the time. So.
And I think what you do is if you give clients the gold standard of something, you know they're gonna like stray a little bit from it. So it's like at least you told them what they should be doing, and like at least they'll have that in the back of their mind for most parts. You know what I mean? And they can break the rules however they see fit, but at least you told them.
Yeah.
Like we break rules, we're human too. So yeah, we break the rules too.
So that's that's kind of like, I guess, animal anxiety. I don't have kids, so I don't have anxieties about them yet.
I was thinking upstairs while right before you came, I wanted to talk about this. So animals, yeah, there are kids, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they really are kids, and it like hit me how really like a kid they are as I'm scooping the cat shit from the cat litter box. Another thing I had to do tonight on top of like I decided to vacuum and then scrub my kitchen floors and exercise and make dinner. I had to go do the cat litter box. And I was scooping the shit and piss, and I'm like, this is disgusting. I was like, I am, like, it's only been 2 days, like, and I'm like, this is, like, I can't handle it, basically. I'm like, I do not want to have to, oh, you're getting a call?
Yeah.
Well, show the life of a resident, just answer.
I just got a call from the ICU, so let me call back on air. It's probably about my one patient that I have in the hospital right now. Well, actually, I have 2 right now, I guess.
You might be
Are
the
we
third.
recording this on the podcast?
We're
Everybody
candid.
can hear my...
I'm going to stop it.
No, I guess you can hear it. Hey, it's Sullivan. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we may have to check or have one of the doctors, check and see if we need to do another thoracocentesis on her and pull all of that fluid off. Well, we just pulled the right chest tube tonight, or around like 4 o'clock or so, and then did that first thoracocentesis then, and we got about 500 mils off. So I guess if there's a big pocket, we can go after it again. It's mostly been on the right and kind of cranial, like almost in the axilla. But, that's, I guess we can just check and see if she needs it. Okay, that's all right. We started her on appetite stimulant to see if we can get her eating, but yeah. Okay. You guys can go ahead and do it, and if you want to call me again after, or just have her text me, that's fine. Okay. Thank you. Bye. Sorry, everyone. That's my one of my patients right now has a pyothorax, which is a big an infection in the thoracic cavity for those non-vet people that are listening. So frustrating case. I just want her to get better, and I feel helpless in it. That's a source of anxiety for me. I don't know if you've experienced this yet with patients.
No.
Where I feel like sometimes I'm not doing anything and I'm not helping them. And that's a source of anxiety for me is because, like, I want to do more. Like, I want them to get better. We all want our patients to thrive and survive, but, we can only do so much.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, I think I used to as a tech, like, as a technician, like, on overnights and stuff, because you're with patients from, like, start to finish. But, like, when you're a student in school, I think it's different than even, like, a resident. It's, like, you're in charge. Mm-hmm. And so, like, in school, you're still under this umbrella of, like, safety where there's, like, 2 people, an intern, a resident, and then a professor above you, all on one case. So it's, like, it doesn't really feel like you're in charge of the case. So I feel like it's hard to get, for me personally, I think it's hard to get as emotionally attached. But
Yeah.
I guess I can't say that as there was that good Sam that had the amputation that came in on emergency like back in August. Remember the big like shepherd looking dog?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, we can't euthanize this dog, and I like cried when I left that night. It was I wrote a whole letter about it. Like, and I like wrote a letter, came home and like got my feelings out and wrote a letter about this dog, and then came back the next day and one of the doctors, I like whispered her name. She couldn't put him to sleep either, and I like came in and it was like this burst of happiness. So things like that. That was like one case.
That's a yeah. I think it's just that sometimes you feel like a failure, and this case is particularly trying for me because I'm doing what I can to fix her. Surgery is not really a great option for it. So we're trying more of a medical management approach to get her better, but she's not turning the corner as quickly as I would have liked and as I've seen in the past with these cases that I've managed. So I don't know. I sometimes you just feel like a fraud as a doctor, and I don't know if that's necessarily true across the board, but for me, you have moments where you're just like what am I doing? I've been studying for this, X amount of years, and I have all this knowledge, but I don't feel like I'm actually even physically doing anything beneficial for this animal. Which is not true.
No, obviously not.
But I think it's also like the contrast is also that we can only do so much. Nature is gonna eventually do what it needs to do.
Yeah, I sometimes have like struggle with like senior patients that maybe have cancer or like tumors or just things that are like you're gonna put them through all of this testing and like treatment for sometimes for what? For sometimes I'm like for what? Because like I like struggle sometimes I guess with what's ethically correct as far as if we're keeping the dogs alive because we can keep things so alive for so many years in an extended period of time, but like I feel like there's a very fine line now since we have oncology and all these specialists that we're in certain scenarios we're keeping things alive that like even though we have this great medicine to do it, like we shouldn't. So I think there's been times that I'm just like on the fence of like whether like whether we're doing the right thing or not, or like what would be like what would the dog want, like what would the cat want, and I just struggle. My whole thing is like if I was this dog at this age with this thing, what would I want? And so that's where I'm always like analyzing when I see patients.
I don't know. I think that they call it a practice for a reason. Like you're practicing medicine, you're not doing it because you can't. It's always changing, always evolving. I think that's one of the things that draws a lot of the people to the profession
and always learning.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe I'll feel totally different about what I just said next year. Like that dog Z, when I was in California, she had lymphoma, was on like prednisone every day, had like a huge pot belly. She was huge. And she had that calcinosis cutis that was like erupting all the time, but she was so happy. Like we would come home and she'd be like bouncing around like a seal, like literally like a huge seal, like blah blah blah, and like barking and like want to go out. And I'm like, she has a good quality of life,
Yeah.
So as long as they're happy and eating and they're wanting to do anything, like get up, then I'm for it.
I agree. I think quality of life is a big thing. Okay, another thing that gives me anxiety is money.
Oh. Oh my God.
And it's okay, at the end of the day, it's not really about how much you have, right? It's that's not, I don't want to have like a ton of money. I think it's really true, like more money, more problems, right?
I'd like to have a lot of money, but
I would like to have enough to be comfortable and not have to worry about, having enough to cover bills or whatever. We don't get paid a lot as residents. We don't get, interns get paid usually even less. And, the trade-off is you're getting paid with experience and learning opportunities, which is huge in that you can, parlay into getting, paid more in future jobs. That being said, it's hard to live on that low of a salary.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to, still have a social life and still be able to go out, not for like, steak dinners or anything like that, but just like, oh, we're going to go
or just
grab a beer or a bottle, glass of wine or something, or coffee, Saturday morning coffee.
Yeah.
You're just going to go and sit and actually just, like, enjoy each other's company and just drink a cup of coffee.
Or, like, want to go to breakfast. And it's like, oh, should I spend that money? And it's like, I think it's 50-50. I think somehow 50% of vet students and everyone else is, like, got this boatloads of money somewhere. I don't know where it came from. But then the other half is, like me. And it's like, I have loans, and that's what I live off of. You live off your resident salary, which is probably the same amount of loans I get for the year. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm very conscious about money. Like, I never go out to eat, like, maybe once every other week, but I don't buy food at school. I spend, like, $45 a week on groceries. Like, I don't even, it's, like, crazy. Like, I feel like I never have anything, but money is literally there every day. Every day I wake up, it's, like, money. Like, do I have enough money? 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 If I go to the cafeteria and buy, like, a Diet Coke, I'm like, I shouldn't be buying this right now. Yeah. But then my, like, 3 p.m., like, decline happens, and I'm like, I don't care. I just want this 60-cent Diet Coke.
Yeah.
But when you use your card, it comes out to be, like, $1.20 as they charge you.
Ugh.
A secret I found out.
Oh, great. Yeah. I think I just want to be able to be comfortable and not have to worry about that.
That's been on my mind for the past 5 years.
Yeah. Yep. Same. I mean, I was thinking, too, like, graduation recently happened, and I was, like, reflecting back on mine, and I was like, shit, I graduated 3 years ago? Like, what the hell have I been doing?
Existing.
Maybe. But anyway, yeah, money is a huge source of anxiety as well. I don't know if we don't really have enough time to, like, delve too deep into this one, but I'm single right now. And I have anxiety about, am I going to find a partner? Am I going to find somebody to spend the rest of my life with and marry, find a husband?
Breach.
I think about that too, and I'm like, I don't know if I just have very, like, high standards. I know I do for myself, but I know I'm never satisfied.
You don't really have time, so where are you gonna?
Well, and that's the thing now is, like, I don't have the time or the energy. I don't have that capacity.
Yeah, but it's just another thing in the back of your mind that's never gonna get resolved, because you never have the time to resolve it. But you're just gonna, like, let it simmer there and cause anxiety day in, day out, and add that into the bucket with the money, and then add that with your 7 dogs you're watching. Like, every day you just wake up with this, like, backpack of shit, and you, like, walk in and you're like, I'm ready to teach.
Yep. Well, yeah. So yeah, that's definitely a source of anxiety as well, because and it's also like you can't force it, and I know you have to put in effort, and it's everybody's like, oh, it'll happen when you least expect it, or like when you stop looking, and I'm like,
when you're walking on the beach in Cabo and you like drop a shell and someone else picks it up for you and it's like your soulmate, and
you're like, hey, is that my shell? And then he at the same time he's like, is that your shell? Yeah, it doesn't. I mean,
it's our shell.
Dating apps are not fun. I, like, every now and then I'll go on them and then I'll delete them off my phone because I just can't, I don't know. The long-term is not there, and it's not a fun game
Well, it's also in
after a while.
being in veterinary school, the veterinary profession, it's like, it's hard to be in a relationship in general. So it's like, even if you get into one, it's like, when I was in vet school, the amount of people that, I remember this one girl that was, like, helped teach, like, study classes. She said, she's like, over 50%, like, she's like, who's married in here? And, like, all the people that were married raised their hands, and she was like, over, like, half of you are going to be divorced by the end of your 4 years. And, like, all of them were. And I was like, ones I never even thought. Because it's just that intense.
Yeah, it is.
And then add a residency to it.
Yep. So, yeah, that's definitely another source of anxiety for me. Also, like...
At least you're not pregnant. That would be even harder.
Oh, my God. Why would you say that? Yeah, it's very true. Yep. So, yeah, those are some of the sources of anxiety that I have. Do you have maybe one more you'd like to share?
Well, just to say, I've had all the anxieties that you've had, so you're just ticking. So maybe other people do
common.
too.
Yeah, I think they're common. I also, okay, this is a big one. Sometimes, actually, a lot of the time, I feel like I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough in my residency. I'm not doing enough in my life, and it's because I'm comparing myself to other people's journeys. And I'm like, well, they're doing this, and they already have that, and they've done this.
I've been doing that since I was an undergrad.
Yeah, but there's a saying that comparison is the thief of joy.
All we do is compare ourselves to each other.
Exactly, and that's why we're all miserable.
Yeah, and see, I compare, like, my financial situation to people that have tons of money, or, like, students that are, like, just don't have a care in the world about money as their families can pay for it. Or, like, people that have, like, a spouse that, like, can pay all their bills and everything and have the house and food and take care of the kids while they're in school. Like, it's like, they have it lucky. Like, not to have anything against those people, but I do envy that. But maybe they envy something about us. Who knows, that we're free and not attached and, like...
Yeah. And maybe that's the problem, is, like, we're all, like, nobody says... that to each other. They're not going to be like, oh, I'm so envious that you get to do this or that. Like, but maybe we need to tell each other more about what we admire about people. Or, like, instead of being like, I'm really envious of that, be like, hey, I really like that you do this, or that you are the way you are, and maybe we need to turn it around that way instead of trying to just compare and be like, because I think automatically we're competitive by nature, and you see somebody who's like, oh, they already have that box checked or whatever, and you're like, well, I need to do that. I need to do it better than them.
No.
I need to do it better than them, and I need to do it now.
Oh, God.
But that's not healthy. It's not always feasible. And why can't you just be happy? Like, when somebody gets something or something good happens to somebody, why do we have to be envious and, like, be like, well, they don't deserve that, or I deserve it more, or I did this, and why hasn't that happened to me, because we're comparing ourselves to them.
Yeah, I think it's just something in our personality that you always want to better yourself. Like, that's just the human existence, is to move up to the top of the pyramid. So only way to do that is by analyzing everyone around you and seeing what everyone else has to try to figure out what you could do different to get to the top. But then what is the top? Like, everyone, like, the ideal top, or the top, you know what I mean? Like, that's so subjective.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it is still pointless in a way, but I think it's good to still compare yourselves to others. It's like you can learn things, like, if I compare myself to how my parents spend money, or my brothers or friends, like, I could be like, oh, maybe I don't manage my bills, the best. Or I would always, when I would go grocery shopping, sometimes to this day, I'll just be like, is this too much, Mom? Is this too much on groceries? And she'd be like, no, like, your grandma would spend blah, blah, blah a week. And she's like, little old lady. And I'm like, okay, like, she's spending way more than me. And I'm like, $100 less than that a week. I'm like, I think I'm fine. And I'm like a 6'2", like...
Yeah. I don't know. I think that it kind of goes along with what we talked about last week is, like, people's lives on Instagram and social media is not always the way it actually
It
always
never
is.
is.
That's some people post real life things.
Yeah.
It's becoming more mainstream. I'm seeing more of it pop up in my feed, but the majority of them are like, oh, I'm going to post for this, and like I have full makeup and hair, and I have this really cute outfit, or
Are you talking about all my San
whatever it is.
Francisco,
No.
my photo series?
Not that, but just like people are afraid to show that they're human and that they have bad days, and oh, I tripped and fell, or whatever it is, everything always has to be perfect on social media, and I think that's not helping the lack of joy from comparing to others. But
Yeah.
anyway, that was kind of a Debbie Downer episode.
Yeah, but life's not all about uppers.
That's true. That's
There's
true.
a lot of people on downers out there.
Yep. And I guess if anybody listening, has any other anxieties, or you guys just want to talk about it, let us know. I think we all have these things in our lives, and just like you said, Kevin, it's kind of ubiquitous. Like, we all have them.
Mm-hmm. So we're just venting about ours.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
Okay.
Karen, on a positive note, Karen went to Hawaii. She listens to these. She loved my got slapped in the face with a dead baby bird story that I told. But she left some of our lidocaine drip pamphlets in a Starbucks in the Hawaiian airport, and then at a restaurant in Hawaii. So
Nice.
And I also I'm so shy about things. There was a door, not the one I posted on Instagram, but there was a door of this artist shop, and there was all these people at the registers, on the counters, and their door was covered in stickers, and I took the sticker off slyly, put it in the palm of my hand, pretend that I was looking at something on the door, and I just slapped it on there. And I just did that everywhere, on garbage cans. So
Nice.
Hopefully someone in San Francisco or in New Orleans, where I also placed them strategically, people are seeing it.
There you go.
And whoever's listening, if you could please go to iTunes, tell your mom, go to your mom's phone and grab it and put, a review and a comment. A comment's probably mean more to us, and just say something.
Yeah.
We have a good amount, but I want more.
Yeah, let us know what you like, what you don't like, what you want us to talk about, and we'll kind of we look at all the comments.
Yeah.
So, not that we get a significant amount, but I think it's important to do that.
And shout out to Egypt. I'm going to shout them out every time. Tell your friends, please. And I love Egypt. I've wanted to go to Egypt. I also love South Africa, Cape Town, whoever's listening there.
Mm-hmm.
Another place I'd love to go.
Yeah.
I just want to fill the continent.
Oh my gosh.
And Japan. Can't forget about Japan.
Yeah.
She's our number one.
I know.
She's the first one that really started following us.
Yeah, she is. Before we sign off, I heard an update today about the self-driving car that ran that old lady over. They examined it or analyzed the chip or whatever, and that car recognized that lady as human and did not stop or intentionally did it. Yeah.
Oh, this is Westworld Part 3.
It intentionally did it. It recognized her as human. So this is what I'm saying. We shouldn't have robot cars. We shouldn't have, AI, artificial intelligence. That's
or
something we should not be messing with.
No. Well, we're already there.
I think it's dangerous.
There's nothing we could do now.
I think it's
We're
dangerous.
not going to stop them.
Anyway. All right. Well.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Recognize her as human?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yep.
See, how you going to predict the unpredictable? You don't have that in your plan. What if you get hit walking across the street with your dog?
Yeah.
What if a self-driving car plows into your house?
I mean.
What if a self-driving car plows into your fence, frees all the dogs? Then what? What's your plan? And you're at school and don't even know it till 10 p.m. It's not in your plan.
Nope.
So you could think about that one tonight.
Thank you for that.
I get also anxious watching people's pets.
Why?
Because you're like in charge of them. So like, what if they did get loose? What if the... I just say no. No, can't do it.
All right. Well, definitely comment, like, subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.
Mame, come here, my beautiful princess. Come here. Come here. Come to Papa. She went to you?
Yeah. Well, okay. Until next time.
Until next time.
Let's get down to it.